I'm Steve from Within the Ruins, and this is Brutal Planet.
Hello, this is Ron Bumblefoot Thal of Sons of Apollo, and welcome to Brutal Planet Magazine.
This is Mike Howe from Metal Church, and welcome to Brutal Planet.
This is Livia Graham from Lipsing, and welcome to Brutal Planet Magazine.
This is Hulk Hoffman of Video. Welcome to Brutal Planet Magazine.
This is JD from Syra, and welcome to Brutal Planet Magazine.
Hey, this is Nick Reese from Joyous Wolf, and this is Brutal Planet Magazine.
We are Thunder Mother, and welcome to Brutal Planet Magazine.
Tom Banglund here. Just want to welcome you guys to Brutal Planet Magazine.
Kevin from the Heavy Metal Shop. Welcome to Brutal Planet Magazine. Hello, Metalheads. My name is Patrick Johansson, known from Lions Air and Outdoors. Welcome to Brutal Planet Magazine.
I'm Yuki from the 69 Eyes, and welcome to Brutal. What's up, vampires? I'm Yuki from the 69 Eyes, and welcome to Brutal Planet.
Sweet.
Lucifer is dancing.
Greetings and salutations, Brutal Planet. We are here today with Travis, Miguel from the band Fake Figures. Travis, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Awesome.
I sat down and listened to the EP From Within, and I was very impressed. I really dig the music, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I love the guitar work, and just to give you kind of like my initial reaction, I thought, this has some like real like early Incubus energy for me. I love the like kind of, it's heavy but it's melodic, and that's hard to find these days. There's not a lot of people doing that and doing it really well, and you guys are doing it really well. So
thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, our sound, I mean, it's definitely heavy, but it's heavy but without as much testosterone, if that makes sense. So, but no, yeah, thank you. Very kind words.
Yeah, you guys do have, you're doing some of the growl vocals too here and there, but it's done pretty tastefully. It seems like it's done mostly where it like kind of fits the crescendo of the music. And overall, I think the song Polymer really stood out to me. I really liked that one.
Yeah, that's definitely, it's definitely out of the five, one of my favorites. It's a little left of center. It's a little bit more, it's poppy without it being overtly poppy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I like the lyrical content too. The lyrics made sense. And I just like that kind of clever, lyrics. It's important to me. Some people don't, it doesn't matter. But when I hear a song like that, it's like a great structure and then really, really well thought out concept and lyrics as well.
Yeah, Steve, our vocalist, this is actually his first time singing for Fake Figures. He was the drummer.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, first time at bat, he killed it on all fronts. He was, initially he was kind of having trouble finding his footing, so to speak, going from behind the kit to like up front. And especially to like some of the riffs that I come up with, they're not exactly the easiest to write to. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I just told him, dude, do whatever you want, do whatever you feel is right. And yeah, he killed it.
Yeah. I'm very impressed with the construction of the songs and the energy. Like I said, early Incubus energy is one of the first things that came to mind. I was like, I give this EP 3 fire emoji.
Awesome. No, yeah, the Incubus comparison, that's definitely a new one. That's a first. But I'll take it for sure.
Yeah. And I said energy in the sense that I don't think it sounds like Incubus, but it has the same kind of like progressive but heavy construction, and then a melodic kind of like interwoven vocal, not rather than just like over the top of it,
Right. Yeah. I mean, picking and choosing those moments of, being aggressive to maybe dialing it back a little bit. I think that's really important because it kind of, it provides more dynamics that way,
Yeah. The music is interesting, and it has a lot of different like shifts to it, and it's like I it's very dense. Like there's a lot of going on in the span of like a 3 or 4 minute song. So
yeah, there's a lot of ear candy in there. Me personally, whenever I'm writing or recording, I have a hard time kind of like putting it down and just saying, okay, it's done. My brain is always like, oh, maybe I should try this, or maybe we could put this there. And it's like, all right, you got to know when to say when,
Yeah. Serendipitously, I watched a podcast with Brandon Boyd and Jamie Josta, and I loved what they said. They're like, sometimes you just got to walk away. Like, it's never done if you're an artist, sometimes you walk away.
I definitely fall into those trappings quite often. And if you're working on a piece of music, you could very well end up falling down that rabbit hole, and the song will it could never be finished because you're constantly tweaking things and this and that. And yeah, you just gotta know when is it right to just, okay, put it down and let it be whatever it's going to be.
I used to call that Axl Rosing it because of he took all that time with that Chinese Democracy record. It was like 20 years in the making or something, and he kept scrapping it and starting over. And
yeah, well, I mean, I won't take 20 years to finish a song. I know that much, but but yeah, sometimes I do take longer than is needed.
So tell me, I like to get a band's origin story. So tell me kind of, and you can go as deep as you want on this, go back as far as you want, but kind of tell me how you guys came together and how this project started.
So I think it was about 2010, 2011. My other band, Atreyu, we kind of went into hiding. For the first half of our career, it was pretty much write a record, record the record, tour, and then do it all over again. So we were doing that for better part of a decade. So we decided to kind of just go on hiatus for a bit. And Bob Bradley, the bass player of Fake Figures, we've known each other for years because he also kind of came up in the Orange County scene. And we also, Treyu also took his band, Scars of Tomorrow, on tour. So we've been friends for forever, really. And he and I have always kind of had similar tastes in music, similar vibes. So he had some riffs, and I believe I had some riffs. So we figured let's put something together, just to have fun with it. And got a few other friends to come into the fold, and recorded our first EP, Held the Sick Offense. And I think that was probably about 2012. And yeah, we've just kind of been doing it ever since. I mean, this isn't a full-time band just because, I'm obviously in Atreyu, so I've got that on my plate, and all the other guys in the bands, they've got jobs and they've got wives and kids, some of them. So, yeah, I mean, we do Fake Figures whenever we can. So for the most part, for all intents and purposes, it's a passion project for all of us. And we're just kind of, the main goal is just to have fun with it, and just to and see what we can do with it, how far we can take it. We're not aiming for global domination, as awesome as that would be. We've all been in bands, touring bands, so we know, this isn't our first rodeo, so we're not going to have delusions of grandeur or anything. But if the main goal, like I said, is it's just to have fun and put some music out. And if people dig it, that's awesome. If they don't, that's perfectly fine too. We're out here just having fun.
You're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if you are in an established touring band who does modestly well, there's, even that, there's not a whole lot of money in that too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, for now it's just for fun.
That's awesome. Where does the name come from? I was definitely curious about how you guys came up with the name Fake Figures.
There's no real philosophical deep meaning behind it or anything. If I remember correctly, our original singer Russ and I were we were talking about the Twilight Zone and how like ahead of its time that show was. Even still to this day, I mean, that show's over 60 years old. It's still, it still resonates with me and a lot of people. But we were talking about a certain episode with where a girl is she gets locked in a department store and she ends up in this room full of mannequins and they start talking to her. And I just remember as a kid how creepy that was. And it was either me or Russ, our old singer, referred to them as like fake figures. And we both just kind of like looked at each other and went, dude, that sounds like a cool band name. And that was it.
That's great. No, it's always interesting. I just like to hear kind of the backstory behind that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like I said, there's no real cool philosophical or anything. It's just it looks cool on a t-shirt,
Yeah. No, but the concept behind it is cool. It's basically mannequins.
Right. Yeah.
So, are you guys planning on doing any touring or playing any shows as Fake Figures this year, or?
Yeah, we actually have a show out here in LA on October 26th at the Knitting Factory. As far as touring, that's really tough because I mean, we have no management, we have no booking. We do it all. It's all in-house. It's all DIY. We're all figuring it out ourselves. And like I said, like everybody else in the band, they've got, regular 9-to-5s and families as well. So, I mean, if we were offered a tour of some kind, we would definitely try to figure it out, try to make it work. But, as of right now, we're just kind of taking it day to day, seeing what opportunities may or may not come our way. So, yeah, I mean, even just like Weekend Warrior stuff would be cool. But as of right now, it's pretty much just locally, like Southern California, mostly like West Coast stuff. If like we got a call to open a show in, San Francisco or Portland or something like that, that's totally feasible. We definitely try to make that work. But yeah, I mean, whatever opportunity comes our way, we definitely try to make it work.
Gotcha. What kind of stuff are you listening to? Like, what do you listen to? What are you listening to right now? Like, is there anything interesting that you're into right now that you're listening to that you'd be open to?
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. Just off the top of my head, the new 68 record.
Oh yeah, I love them. With the guy from Norma Jean, right?
Yeah,
the Chariot.
Skogan. Yeah, he was originally in Norma Jean, and then the Chariot, and then started 68. And I've been a fan of theirs for a number of years now.
I haven't listened to their record. I just saw someone posted a video on Hate 56, this live channel.
Yeah.
I was so blown away by their live performance. So I need to listen to their.
Yeah, they're awesome live. It's just a 2-piece, pretty bare bones, but they put on one hell of a show.
Yeah.
Man, what else? The new Queens of the Stone Age record. I've been jamming a lot. Man, I shouldn't say new, but the latest Cave-In record, Oliver Tree. Who else? Clipping.
Oh yeah, that's like kind of alt hip hop, right?
It's like a lot of people say it's basically like if 9 Inch Nails were hip hop.
Yeah,
it's really
good
cool.
description.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm all over the place with music. It just sometimes I go on like a full on like old school hardcore kick, and then other times I'm just listening to like ambient land soundscapes, and then other times I'm just listening to straight up pop. So
Yeah.
it all just depends on on the given time of the day, really.
And you got the nail bomb shirt, so I know you're good on that front too.
Yeah, like I've got all the heavy stuff covered. I'm always keeping my ear to the ground for new music, no matter what it is. What, you know, if anybody says, "Oh, hey, you got to check out this crazy jazz fusion guitar player that nobody's ever heard of," I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm down."
I love it.
You know,
I'm the same way. What would you say? So you're a guitar player, right?
yeah.
So who would you say, like, what drove you into music? What inspired you to get into music in general? Like, or who are some of your early influences?
I come from a very music loving family, but I'm the only one that actually like participated or actively picked up an instrument to learn how to play. Really, my sister, when I was a kid, she was dating a guy who played in like punk bands, and he was a huge music nerd. And every time, you know, we'd be hanging out, he'd have like all these boxes of like cassette tapes and vinyl and CDs, and he would make me like all these different mixtapes of stuff. And I think the spark that kind of ignited the flame, so to speak, was when I was super, super, super young. I saw the video for One by Metallica. And, you know, so we're talking like late 80s, early 90s. And anything I knew about metal was whatever was on MTV.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking back to that time, it was a lot of the hair bands, what I call like the W bands, like Warrant, White Snake, Winger. And like all their videos, essentially for the most part, they all kind of look the same. It was like them rocking out on this gigantic stage, but playing to nobody.
Yeah.
And like these giant swooping crane shots. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, there'd be chicks in the videos, and, you know, they'd be like, you know, playing up to the camera and, you know, making awesome rock faces and rock poses. But the Metallica video was literally the complete opposite of that. I didn't know music could be like that aggressive and dark. It was the first time I had ever heard like palm muting on a guitar. It was the first time I'd ever seen double kick drums. You know, there's like a blatant shot of Lars's legs in that video doing the double kick. And
Yeah.
this is the first time I'd ever heard that, like that James Hetfield snarl. And I remember the video actually kind of scaring me. You know, it's about a soldier who loses all of his limbs, can't see, he can't hear, he can't speak. The only way he can communicate is by nodding his head in Morse code. So he's basically trapped inside of his own body. And I remember just that concept freaked me out as a little kid. Like it scared me. And when you're that age, I think, you know, the things that scare you also fascinate you.
Totally.
So yeah, from that point on, that's like when I really got into like, okay, this is like real metal. This is real, like thought provoking, like, you know, a punch in the sternum type of music. So ever since then, that's kind of what I gravitated to. But then again, like I said, like I come from a very music loving family. So I have an older sister who was a teenager in the 80s, and our bedrooms were right next to each other. So any given day, I'd be hearing like Depeche Mode, Culture Club, Duran Duran coming from her bedroom. So I have like a soft spot for that kind of stuff. And my dad, you know, he listened to stuff of his era. So it was like the Doors, Cream, you know, basically anything Clapton related, Hendrix, even maybe like some Pink Floyd, stuff like that. You know, my mom was, you know, part of the whole Beatlemania thing. She likes to brag that she's actually saw Elvis and the Beatles as well. So yeah, I mean, I've just always loved music, and when I picked up a guitar, it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to be a huge rock star one day because I can play guitar. It was just something that was actually kind of feasible for me. And then I discovered like punk rock, and it was just plug in, turn it up, and play. You don't have to be, super shredder dude. You just have to know a couple chords, and you just got to be loud. So that was kind of like the catalyst for me, like getting into bands or joining bands. Like, this music is so simple and rudimentary that, anybody can do it. So I'm going to do it then. I'm going to try it. So yeah, like all through my teens, I played in different bands, obviously that never really went nowhere, but it was still like a ton of fun, and I definitely look back on those days very fondly.
Well, you touched on something that I never really thought about with that Metallica video, because it was the same. Like, I grew up probably in the same era you did, and that's so true. I didn't even think about that they almost were kind of like the grunge thing, the undercurrent, like the precursor to grunge, really, that blew the lid off all the hair metal bands. And I never really thought about that, but that's so true. When that video came out, it was like definitely a game changer in a low key way that not a lot of people think about.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like all those hair metal bands, it was like bright and, colorful,
hot pink and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And the Metallica video was not that.
Yeah, it was ugly.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was black and white,
pretty.
And like intertwined with this footage from this obscure movie from the early 70s called Johnny Got His Gun.
Yeah.
And it definitely, it's not a feel good song either.
Right.
It's actually quite depressing song and video. So yeah, ever since then, I've always been attracted to more darker things. Not to say that I'm, down in the dumps all the time and life is pain and stuff like that. But because, like I said, like I love some of the corniest pop stuff too. Yeah. I look at music as like food. Like, I love Italian food. It's for the most part just meat, cheese, and bread. Like, who doesn't love that? Do I want to eat it every meal every day? No, I want to have other stuff too, So, and especially in this day and age where, like, not to, be the curmudgeon old man or anything, but back in my day, to discover new music, you either had to have a friend show it to you, or you had to stumble across it, or you had to have an older sibling to kind of show you the way, or read about it in a magazine. But now it's all, literally right here. I can discover countless new bands just by clicking on this little thing here. So
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, technology has changed, which has changed the way people consume music and media in general, really. Yeah, in this day and age, it's so easy just to discover all this new stuff that's going on, almost to the point where it is almost too much, because how do you sift through all this stuff that's available to you? It can, a lot of the good stuff can get lost in the mix. And but I mean, I'm not complaining. It's definitely a luxury that we have, that I don't take for granted just because of my age, because I knew what it was like. I like going into a music store and taking the chance of spending your hard-earned $15-20 on a CD that you have no idea what it is. Like a lot of stuff, especially in my early age, like stuff I bought was solely based on the cover.
Yeah.
And sometimes those covers might mislead you.
Yeah, a lot of times, actually.
Yeah. So, but yeah, nowadays it's all right there for the grabbing.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? It's like it's great that the technology is available to everyone to easily record and distribute music, but then it's also like this fire hose of content. I feel like the same thing's happening in like film and TV, right? Where it's like every week someone's like, "Have you seen this show? Have you seen this show?" I'm like, I don't have enough time to watch half the shows y'all are throwing at me.
Yeah, there's, I've actually done that before, gone, on social media and like, hey, somebody recommend a good show or a good movie to watch. I've got a long plane flight ahead of me or something. And it's just all these recommendations and like literally like at least 90 to 95% of them I haven't even heard of, and yeah, it's hard to, it's hard. It's almost like you could end up drowning in all this content.
Yeah. How do you wade through that?
Right. Yeah. Like I usually, like if I'm looking for something to watch on Netflix or whatever, it takes me longer to actually find something than it does to actually sit down and watch it, because there's so much stuff up there that, it's hard.
And then they kind of algorithmically, elevate stuff that has the money behind it too, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Or even like some of the suggestions that Netflix gives me, I'm like, where the hell did you come up with that? What makes you think I would want to watch that?
Someone's paying good money to make sure you take a stab at it.
Right. Right.
Well, I mean, being in a band like Atreyu, like you said earlier, like you guys have been, I mean, that's a band that's been around for a long time too. So I have a boatload of respect for anyone who's got a career like that. And it's hard to like keep a band like that together, let alone continue to put out good music for years and years and tour and all that kind of stuff. So.
No, yeah. Thank you. I think the fact that we have been around for as long as we have, it puts things into perspective for us. We're all, literally a couple decades older than we were when we started. And the fact that we still get to do this at the level we're doing it, it's not lost on us how lucky and fortunate we are. A lot of the bands that we were touring with when we were first starting out, they broke up years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're definitely extremely lucky to be doing what we're doing, and we definitely don't take it for granted.
Yeah, you guys were always. I've seen you guys play a few times, and just over the years. So I mean, and I'm someone who goes to shows frequently. My brother actually was the one who's telling me recently that because the singer used to play the drums, and now he's kind of got out from behind the kit and is actually just focusing on the vocal parts. So I need to see you guys play again next time you come through Southern, or next time you play around here. But
yeah, we've had our ups and downs for sure. And that's no matter what band you're in, you're going to have ups and they're not going to last forever. And you're going to have downs and those aren't going to last forever either. Whether how long you can, I guess, sustain that longevity, that's where, it's kind of up to the band themselves. We've been around long enough to know that, we're not going to be the biggest band on earth.
Sure. Who is?
Right. Especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
But, we strive for longevity, without it being like, without getting to the point where everybody's like, dude, you guys need to like hang it up. Like,
yeah,
the wells run dry, and it's hard to gauge that when you're in the band, but from what I can tell, things have been, so far so good.
I feel like there's a big resurgence of like new metal and like the early like screamo type stuff right now too. Like a lot of people from like that era, there's a big nostalgia for it. So it's almost like the next cycle for you guys to some degree.
Yeah, for sure. And everything's cyclical. like when the first initial like late 90s new metal thing was going on, traditional, metal was kind of out of fashion. And then after the new metal thing died out, the metal thing kind of came back into fashion again.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like you said, like the new metal thing and the like 2000s like metalcore and screamo and all that stuff.
Just to be clear too, I'm not classifying you guys as new metal.
No, I mean, I still like, we've been around so long, we could care less what anybody calls us anymore. Like, oh, you guys are this, or you guys are like, dude, I don't care.
Yeah, we're a rock band.
Yeah, exactly. We're just stoked that people are still coming to shows and people are still listening to the music. I mean, if you told me, when we were first starting out as this local Orange County band that we'd still be doing it 20 years plus later, I probably would have laughed in your face, because most bands that came from where we came from, it was kind of expected that, okay, go write a record, record it and tour it and enjoy that while it lasts, because you probably get 6-7 years out of it, maybe if you're lucky. But we've obviously gone further than that. So anything else after that is like just icing on the cake.
Yeah. And to what you said earlier too, I feel like the success of a band like a Metallica, for example, is the fact that they as people have been able to like stay together for so long and, live through those ups and downs.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, if there's any band that's been through ups and downs, it's been them.
Yeah.
Sure. But I mean, any of those bands that were there, back in the 80s and who are still active now, obviously like the big four of thrash. I mean, obviously minus Slayer because they broke up, but no band has ever just had a smooth sailing ride, and you kind of have to learn how to take things on the chin. And, once problems arise, how are you going to deal with it? Are you going to freak out? Are you just going to quit? Are you going to see it through? Yeah, I mean, it's in that aspect, it's helped us progress as a band. It's helped us thrive as a band, but it's also helped us as human beings. I mean, we were all, for all intents and purposes, kids when we started this, and over the course of it, we became men. Like, we're all married now. Some of the guys have kids. We own homes. The whole adulting thing finally came into play, which kind of sucks, but it's a part of life. But yeah, I mean, like I am the person. A lot of who I am today is because of me playing music.
That's beautiful, man. It's beautiful that you guys can kind of continue doing it and grow together as a team and stuff. It really is like, people don't understand, like being in a band is like almost being married to like 3 different people or 4 different people.
Absolutely.
You have to deal with everybody's baggage.
Right. Yeah. And I tell this to a lot of people too, who may not really get the gist of it. Like, I think there's 2 parts to being in a band. One, you have to be good at what you're doing, whether you're the guitar player or you're the drummer or the singer, whatever. I mean, that's probably half of it. And the other half is, can you as a person be in a band? Like, you could be the, top tier level musician, but if you're a dick, nobody's going to want to work with you.
Yeah.
Or on the flip side, like, you could be the coolest guy on earth, but your playing sucks. It's just not going to cut it. So you got to figure out kind of how to balance the two.
Yeah.
Because, touring, you're stuck in a van, or if you're lucky in a bus, and you're constantly surrounded by these same people, like, literally for weeks, if not months on end. You're going to get on somebody's nerves at some point, or somebody's going to get on your nerves, and you kind of just have to like roll with it and, figure out what buttons you can push, which ones you can't. Okay, that dude's in a bad mood today. I'm going to give him some space, or let's go grab something to eat. Let's go hang or whatever. They can be tricky waters to navigate.
Yeah. Do you have a hard stop at 1? Do you have other interviews to jump to?
I believe 1:15 or so.
Okay, cool. Well, let's wrap everything up then. The EP is out. It's From Within. It's great stuff. I highly recommend it. It's one of those, like I said, and I mean this sincerely, it's one of those records I sat down and went, oh, wow, this is really, really good, really good stuff.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much. That means a lot to us, because we don't have a huge fan base. It's for the most part kind of just word of mouth right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, hearing accolades like that definitely makes it worth it.
I think the music is great in the sense, and I think it'll rise to the top. Like we were saying, with there's so much stuff out there. As more and more people start to hear it, I really love, like, the vocals are great. He has a really unique and distinct voice. You guys the song structures are like not typical, but not like so out of whack that they're alienating, like Dillinger Escape Plan or something like that.
Right.
So I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from you guys, and hopefully I can catch you guys when you play live this month.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Travis, thank you for taking the time. Please come back through again and talk again to me when you guys are doing something else, or whether it's Atreyu or Fake Figures or whatever you're doing, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, brother.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care. So I genuinely mean this. What I said to Travis there about that stuff. Definitely get out and stream this stuff. The EP is called From Within. The band is Fake Figures. I really dig the track Polymer, but there's a couple really great songs. I mean, all the songs on it are great, but there's a couple really, really. I think the other one that stood out to me is called Miasmatist or something. Or here, let me look at the name real quick. Miasmatic. Okay. But yeah, guitar, I'm a big guitar driven person. So the guitar work on it is phenomenal. And I can't recommend it enough. If you like good, heavy, it's got a lot of, like I said, early Incubus energy, like Science era, kind of like that, really precise but like off kilter kind of guitar work, coupled with like these melodic vocals that interweave and dance around the rhythms really well. And then there's definitely a lot of Alice in Chains influence as well. I hear a lot of Alice in Chains type influence. Like there's a lot of like 2-part harmonies in some of the songs. And again, the guitar work is incredible. The riffs, they got the riffs happening. So go check them out. Fake Figures. Gratitude to Travis for his time. And we have a pretty packed week. Tomorrow, we've got, this is a reschedule, but we got Max Cavalera's son, Igor Amadeus Cavalera, who's coming in to talk about, interesting that homie was wearing a Nail Bomb shirt too, Max's other side project and Max's industrial project. But tomorrow we got Igor Amadeus Cavalera of Go Ahead and Die. That's going to be a great conversation. And then we have Wednesday 13. I think, don't quote me on this, but according to Eric, he's going to be talking a little bit about a Murder Dolls reunion that they're doing. I don't know if you know much about the Murder Dolls, but Joey Jordison, Slipknot, was also in the Murder Dolls. Very cool. And then we also have Sharon from Within Temptation, and I'm real excited about that as well. They have a new record coming out that's incredible. So anyway, if you tuned in today, thank you so much for taking the time to check us out. Definitely check out Fake Figures. Like I said, this is one of those bands that when I got the request, I was kind of like, Fake Figures, who's this? And as soon as I put the CD on, I went, CD. As soon as I put the streamer on, I went, holy shit, this is killer shit. I was very, very impressed. And they definitely have my seal of approval. So anyway, thank you all for hanging out. We're going to get out of here, and we'll see you next time. Keep it brutal.